Okay guys, so I'm back again and this is part 2 of my girl talk college advice video, and basically yeah, we're just gonna get into the other half of it. So before we get started though, please be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up, make sure to subscribe down below, make sure to turn on post notification notified when I post. If I ever do, just get on this video. So as you can see, I'm in a new scenery again because I was gonna go in the other room, but it's just so ridiculously hot in there and I don't want to change my outfit, so I was like, you know what, we're gonna take it outside. So let's get into this. So the next one is money in general. So I would say, and I said this in one of my previous videos before, but I think it's solid to at least, literally at the minimum, have $1,000 per semester. It's all the times you might go out and whatnot, but I think a safe bet to be actually like okay is that much. And also just depending on the lifestyle that you're gonna have, like if you're that person that's gonna go to, you know, all these events, you know, school events like are free for the most part, but other outside extracurricular events might cost money. Signing up for clubs might cost money. Just going out to eat with your friends, if you want to buy clothes for an event or things, like you just never know. And I think it's always better to be safe than sorry. So I feel like $500 to $1,000 range per semester is pretty decent, and that's why it is crucial, because let me tell you, like, it's so hard to do things in college, or to at least like a lot of things, the reality is going to cost money and you don't want to have to stress about it too much. And so I feel like if you have a respectable amount to just have as, like, you know, your extra spending money throughout the semester, it's just nice to have and to be able to participate in activities that other people are doing. And you know, and it's always like, you know, and I'm not saying that you have to like always go out and buy stuff or whatever, but at least to have something, you know, because you never know what's gonna happen. And especially, let's say, unexpected medical cost, or if you have to run to the store because you need something and it turns out to be expensive, more than you realize that your parents used to buy all the time, or if you need to buy medicine or just anything to go on, or if your phone breaks, you know, you need money. And yeah. Okay, so next one is mental health, and this one is a really huge one because I definitely struggle with it, and I've talked to many other people though as well who have also, you know, been through, it might be similar or just like, you know, just relating on the mental health, you know, thing. And I suffer from depression and PTSD, and you know, going into my first semester, it was a lot navigating that because I thought that I was fine, to be honest, but I realized that, you know, I actually did need help. Like, it was to the point where, like, you know, I was just really struggling, especially since, you know, it was still a few months going into the whole situation that I was with my parents though and all. And so, you know, don't be afraid to get help, don't be afraid to get medicated, because that's what I did, and I've been on ever since first semester of school, and I have been doing way much more better now. I still, regardless of being medicated, even if I wasn't medicated, still I would have regardless left the school because of just, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I did leave, but you know, also because of mental health as a contributor. But it was multiple things, not just that. Don't be afraid to get help, or even if you don't even want to talk to a therapist, even just having somebody. Now it can be a lot to vent, especially if it's like a lifelong trauma to people, unless like they can relate, I guess. But just be mindful to also be, you know, there as a friend to receive, and not just only like being poured into. And I get it that there's periods of times where you might need to be poured into more as a friend, but I feel like, you know, at the same time, like in those hard times, like it's okay to be poured in a little bit more, but to also reciprocate that energy into friendships as well. And that's why I think, you know, it's so important, I guess, in a way, to have, like, well, for me to have a therapist, because there's some things where it's just too much and I don't want to be like going on a rant all the time, especially, you know, like, even though they are like my close friends and all, but I think it's a healthy balance, because at the end of the day, like, it's, that person is also going through so much on their own though too. But don't let this refrain you from talking to your friends about stuff going on in your lives, like, no, but be mindful of the amounts, and especially if that's all that you guys talk about though too. Even though it is nice and it's good to vent, but sometimes it can be a lot for other people, especially if they're having other things going on in their life though too. So just make sure to take care of yourself, and even times where you do need to pour, where you do need more important, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to say no to activities. Never feel bad for saying no, for changing your mind. Now, if it's consistently changing your mind, maybe you just need to say no originally, and that's something that I've definitely had to work on a lot of the times. But you know, never apologize, especially even for not picking up a phone call or texting back as fast. But I mean, for me, I always though try to, as much as I can, give like a courtesy to people, like, hey, I'm sorry, or whatever, or I may not be able to hang out this day, but another day I can hang out. So things of that level. It's important to take care of yourself, but to also make sure that, like, you know, you're not harming your relationships with people, so that even when you do get better, that they're all run away. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you get the gist of what I'm saying here. So next thing is transferring, and honestly, like, I kind of knew like early on that I wanted to transfer. And don't be afraid, like, if it literally is in your hearts that this is where you're not meant to be at, like, don't be or go to places. I mean, like, you didn't know at first, you know, and it's hard because it's like, you know, there's so many options of schools to go to, and so it's understandable if it's, you know, if you realize that it's not your best fit. Don't be afraid to change. You know, it was very scary, especially financially, but it all worked out in the end. All glory to God, of course, for it. But I think that, you know, I was so stuck in the mindset, you know, a little bit as I was contemplating in the beginning that, like, you know, like, I have all my friends here, you know, financially, like, things were looking good. I would be on the track to not necessarily be in student debt if I went there, and just everything, like, I was so used to everything in life there, and that's such a drastic change. And even for me as a student athlete, like, the college transfer portal is kind of a scary thingy though and all, but I'm grateful that I took that leap of faith, because honestly, if I was still there, like, I don't know how long, like, I probably would have dropped out of school or something like that, because I was just unhappy there and the things that were happening in the environment that I was in. Like, yes, like, I loved some of the people and the situations and places and everything. Like, it was a good first semester experience, but ultimately I know that God was leading me here to Georgia State, and if I would have stayed there, I would have been so miserable, y'all. And now, you know, the doors that have been open, like, it's just so much better. And even if I was gonna be in student debt still, you know, like, money does come around, and it wouldn't be a crazy amount to pay off back versus some other bigger schools. So thankfully for that though. But don't be afraid to take a leap of faith, even especially your freshman year. Now, sometimes it does take second semester, but also I know a lot of people, especially that went to my previous school, who were like, no, they wish they left with me. And I did have one friend that did leave with me, and I'm glad that, you know, like, we're both, you know, happier. So really go with your heart, but also make sure it's like you still, like, figure stuff out, and make sure, like, you know, it would make sense. Okay, so next thing is roommates, and I've kind of touched base with this with my, like, roommate horror story and all that stuff like that. But, like, at the end of the day, like, you're not safe regardless, okay? Like, not like safe, like physically, like, you're in danger, but, like, the reality is, like, whether you may have somebody that you know or somebody that you don't know how it's gonna end out. Take a leap of faith, but go in with an honest heart. Be respectful of the person, you know, try to clean up after yourself. Have, like, establish things beforehand. I think was honestly, like, such a huge help. And make sure, like, you divide rights, you know, who's gonna get this, who's gonna get that. And if a person, don't be afraid, like, if a person is using too much toilet paper, to be like, you know what, I think we should buy our own toilet paper, because I had that problem, and I ended up hiding all the ones that I had that were really good, because I kid you not, literally a whole roll was gone within a day. And that would happen, and I wouldn't even be at the dorm a lot of the times, because I would always be out doing something. And so I was like, so I took all my cheap ones that I got from the food pantry, and I put it in the bathroom, because I was like, I'm not gonna let my bad ones, like, my good ones, go to waste. You know what I'm saying? Just making sure to have open communication, and to, you know, have a good impression for most, you know, and to try to, like, work things out. But I understand having people that don't want to compromise, even though you both paid for the shared space. And so don't be afraid to, you know, room switch. I know it's such a hassle. I definitely did not want to, but there was no other option that they can give me. At least for my school, they didn't have enforcements in place for breaking the roommate agreement, and so I was like, what's the point of even making it in the first place? So anyways though, yeah, roommates, there's bound to be stuff. You bound to, you know, get on each other's nerves and all. And I don't know how the experience is like for people living in the same rooming space, so honestly I can't give too much advice on that, because I did have my own room, and even though we had shared bathroom and then common area together. But for the most part though, just go in with an open, honest heart, and you know, if it all doesn't work out, just know that you're not stuck in it. You don't have to be stuck in the situation if you end up not liking them, that there's always an opportunity to switch rooms and move to somewhere else better. And yeah, I know for me, I was much more better and happier. You know, of course, you know, some things with my other roommate, but for the most part, it was much better than my last roommate arrangement. So glory to God for all of that, because I was miserable in other arrangement social life. So like honestly, like just go out there and have fun, you know, like especially your freshman year. Like I had such a flexible schedule where it was like I had enough time like after my classes and all to relax, to go to every single event. I went everywhere, y'all, and this is the time, this is what you need to be doing. Oh my gosh, it's so hot. So this is literally the time to go out there, meet people, and just like this is the like I feel like this is also like really the time that you will have a lot of time. Now I don't know how your classes are going to be looking like the other years, but I feel like it's such like an easier year compared to other years, because it's like you're doing your core classes, things that we've already learned for like many years. And usually I feel like the teachers are flexible in a lot of ways. Like my teachers were so lenient, but also this can depend on the school that you're going to. Like if you're at Ivy League, I don't know how that's gonna go. But for just other general like average school, I feel like for the most part though, like, you know, I hope you would have time, but also just depending on how much classes and everything. I forgot how much I did, but it was like the average amount. It's like 15 to 18 credits a semester. But I loved the format that I had. I had 4 classes online and then 1 in person my second semester, but the first semester I had all my classes in person, but it still wasn't that bad. And I had many times to like in between class, like go eat lunch with my friend group, you know, go to school events after, like weekends and everything. Like just get your work done so that you can have enough time. And like I know it's easier said than done, but literally like I be doing my work during class, y'all. Like if you don't make the time, like literally make the time, because this is the chance and it's such a good opportunity. And I literally mentioned it in the last video, but like freshman year, everybody wants to meet everybody, and so it's like it's a perfect time to literally like just really go out there and to really like find your people, you know. And if it isn't one group, then it's like, oh, you can go to the next people, you know what I'm saying? Like it's your time to find people. And I feel like you should not limit yourself, especially by staying in your dorm all the time, or like, you know, like it's good to study, yes, go study, get your time to yourself, of course, self-care, to relax, to decompress and everything, you know. But also like you don't want to like end up like not having anybody, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like for me, I kind of secluded myself in the beginning, the second semester, but I'm glad that the second, third month that I was there, I actually kept on going on more and more and more events, because I knew that I did not want to be lonely anymore. First few days are rough a little bit because of that, especially like the weekends though too, because I was like, dang, like, you know, like I'm in a huge city and I essentially had no one, at least yet, that I was like close to be like, you want to do this tonight or whatever. And so I'm grateful for the people that I have now, and it wouldn't be possible if I didn't force myself to get out there. And last but not least is just have fun, you know. Like don't stress too much. Like at the end of the day, like the Lord has accounted for it all, for everything that's gonna happen in our lives, the good, the bad. And I just feel like, you know, go in it with the open mindset to everything, you know. Don't be too hard on yourself, because that is what definitely I was to myself. But if I could go back, I would tell myself, Yolanda, like chill out, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna all work out. And at the end of the day, once again, going back to my other point, but like if it comes to it, you can transfer, you can start over, you can be who you want to be. This is the time, this is adulthood, you know. And this is, you know, the chance for you to take initiative of your life, to set your future in the right direction that you want it to be at. So, you know, go reach for the stars. You know what I'm saying? Have fun in the process, and I promise you it's gonna be okay. And yeah, I hope you guys had an amazing rest of your day. I hope you enjoyed this video. Peace. It's already out.